You've probably heard that beauty rule that blush placement should match your face shape. If you have a round face, you should do your blush like this. If you have a long face, you should do your blush like that. But honestly, I don't really agree. As a pro makeup artist, I believe that your blush placement should match the look that you want, not some outdated rule about bone structure. So today I'm breaking down 3 blush placements that I actually use on clients. And yes, this applies to all ages, all face shapes, all skin tones. The first technique I want to talk about is probably the most natural because it's meant to mimic what your face naturally does if you've exercised or if you've gone outside and it's cold out and you come back inside and you look in the mirror and you see where your cheeks are red. That's what this blush is meant to do. And that's why I say it's the most natural. My dearly departed grandmother used to do her blush like this, and she insisted that it made her look younger because it brought color to her face. She didn't follow any rules and she did exactly what she wanted, and she always looked fabulous. And because she didn't follow any rules, she did her blush a little differently every single time, but for a majority of the time, she always concentrated it on the apples of her cheeks right here. She sometimes would bring it up just a little bit, depending on what kind of mood she was in, but for the most part, she kept it right here, and that's what we're gonna do. In order to mimic the blood or that flush rushing to our face, I'm gonna use the Bisou blush from Violette. This is in the shade Miriam. I've talked about this on my channel before. I love this blush. You'll be surprised to hear that this blush is actually one of the most natural blushes that you can wear because, like I said, it mimics the natural flush that your face makes because it's the color of blood, which sounds a little weird, I know, but if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Now, as far as mimicking this natural flush, it's different for everybody. I know that there are some people who get big blotches right on their cheeks. There are some people who only get a little smattering. They get almost little streaks on their face. For me, it's concentrated almost directly on the apples of my cheeks. So it's personal to everybody, but that's also the beauty of it because you can customize it and make it your own. Remember, you don't have to follow the rules. That being said, I'm going to take the blush. This is mine, so I'm going to use it directly from the component. I'm not going to be precious about it. I'm just going to plop it on like that. And then I'm going to take the 107 brush from BK Beauty and just start kind of buffing that and just sort of going back and forth. You can use your fingers as well. I want a little bit more flush, so I'm going to take a little bit more. Now, the thing I love about this technique is that there really is no technique at all. You can just kind of slap on the blush and blend it out and you're done. And it looks like you have a beautiful natural flush, perfect for every day and super easy to apply. Now for the second technique, we're just going to build on top of the first and you'll see why in just a second. This blush placement is a little bit more on the trendy side. Definitely become more popular within the last few years. It's the Sun-Kissed blush. Now we could take the blush that I used in the first technique, but that's no fun and I want to show you some more products and some more options. I'm going to take the Kosas Cloud blush. This is in the shade Euphoria. Yes, this is a powder shade. Don't worry, don't panic. We can definitely make it work. I know that there are people who prefer powder over cream and cream over powder, so I wanted to show both. But this is such a beautiful kind of pinky rose. There's a little bit of red in there as well, and I think it's going to be perfect for this technique. So I'm going to take a little bit on the brush. I'm going to load up the brush. And I do this for a number of reasons, but most importantly, I want there to be an even distribution of product all over the entire surface of the brush. So I'm going to tap it off in the back of my hand. And what tapping it off also does is you can see what kind of pigment you're working with. You can see whether or not it's sheer. You can see if you're going to get a lot of pigment. I know that I can speak for pretty much all of us when we've gone straight into a product and gone directly onto our face and immediately regretted that decision. And then you have to backpedal and try and figure out how to get all that product off your face. Yeah, let's not do that to ourselves and save ourselves the hassle. So again, I'm just going to go right here and then I'm just going to tap all over the cheekbone and I'm bringing it all the way back here, doing the same thing on the other side. It's almost like we're creating strips on the face. Don't panic, we will blend everything out, but I just want to show you the placement. And then for my most favorite part, we're going to go over the nose. Kind of back and forth. Now you can always go back in with your foundation brush. You should have a little bit of product left over and then you can go over. And this will help to blend everything together, soften the blush. And here we have our beautiful sun-kissed look. We can add a little bit more on the nose if you want. Or something else that I like to do is I'll take a little bit of blush, just go on my forehead like this. Now I know this blush placement isn't for everyone, but don't knock it till you try it because I was hating on it and then I tried it and I love it. I think it's so pretty. It makes you look sun-kissed and wind-blown and it's just perfect for any season, whether it's winter or summer. Now for our third blush technique, I'd have to say that this one is probably the most tried and true of all of them. This is one of the most classic techniques that you can do, and for me, I do it on 99% of people and it just works. Now you could say this technique leans more towards mature makeup wearers, but I've seen Gen Z take this idea and run with it. I'm talking about what I like to call lifted and snatched. I have the same base on that I've had on for the last 2 demonstrations. I'm taking this cream stroke blush from Make Beauty. This is in the shade Chroma. It's this really beautiful, just kind of warm pink, super flattering on a majority of skin tones. I have this in my kit and I love it. Now there is a little bit of technique involved in this blush placement, but it's super easy. I just want you to make sure when you're looking straight ahead, take the end of a brush or even your finger and place it on the outer third of your eye like this. I don't want you to go anywhere past this when you're placing your blush. So we're going to start the blush here and we're going to work it up into the temple. That's the idea of keeping the blush placement really high on the cheek, then we are keeping everything lifted. So I'm going to take the Make Beauty blush and I'm just going to place it. And the placement is also really important too. I'm actually placing it on top of my cheekbone, kind of actually on the bottom of the orbital bone right here. So we're starting right there and then we're going to take it a little lower, just right on the top of the cheekbone like that. And then just like that. I'm going to take my BK Beauty brush. This is number 108. And I'm just going to tap, and you can bring it down just a little bit to cover the high cheekbone right here. But remember, we're not pulling the blush in like we have with the other 2 techniques. You can even bring it a little under the eye like this, almost as if it's an extension of the eyeshadow. That's very on trend right now. And I know I said that this is a more classic way to do your blush, and it is, but that doesn't mean that it isn't on trend as well. Taking my foundation brush as my eraser and blurring out those edges. We're doing the same thing on the other side, just working it up and out. With blush placement, we're thinking about balance. We're thinking about how the rest of the face looks, and I wanted to keep everything really natural, especially because I have such a bright color on my cheeks. It's also doing a lot of the heavy lifting for me because as you can see, my face looks more lifted, it looks more snatched, and it's helping my cheekbones pop even more. If there is any rule for blush, I would say the same thing I've said about wearing bold lip or wearing color on your face. Make sure that the rest of your face is balanced. But again, there's also no rules, and you can wear your blush however makes you happy. Whether it's a natural flush or it's lifted and snatched, it doesn't matter as long as you love it. If you've learned something new or if you're excited to try one of the 3 blush placements I just showed you, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe for more pro makeup content and how-to techniques from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week with a brand new video.